Take us in.
Hi guys, welcome to TCR. I'm Sid.
Mike.
And what is homesteading?
What is homesteading?
Today we're going to talk about what is homesteading, what did it start out as, and what is it now?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go have a seat over by the garden though.
I'm serious if we're moving locations. Holy moly.
Comfortable. So, homesteading is one of those words that people really throw around a lot on the internet right now, and everybody has an opinion, and I think a lot of them are correct, to be honest with you. I think there are a lot of different versions of what homesteading is. Now, we can talk about where the word came from. The Homesteading Act, or the Homestead Act of 1862, was actually signed by Abraham Lincoln, and the idea back then was getting families and people to begin to migrate and move out west, and improve the economy, improve farming. So basically the deal back then was you could get 160 acres of land as long as you were over 21 and worked the land as a farm for 5 years, then you would own it. That was the original homestead. A lot of time has passed since then, and
It's been a minute.
homesteading has evolved. Now, a lot of states have homesteading acts. I feel like we're sinking.
Oh my god, we are. I thought, what is this that doesn't feel right?
Wow. So that just happened.
So yeah, that just happened. We just moved the bench and forgot that the ground's still wet from all that rain. So
Perhaps we stand.
perhaps we stand.
States have laws regarding homesteading and protection for homesteaders. Where we are right now in California, there is a homesteading declaration that can protect you, can give you exemptions, and can protect you in the event of financial default of your property. So where I come from originally, Tennessee, there is a really good homesteading act there as well, and also laws regarding foraging and stuff to kind of help protect people who are living that sustainable lifestyle. And Alaska and Idaho and states across the United States still have these homesteading laws and acts. But I don't think you necessarily have to declare legally yourself a homesteader to be a homesteader. Let's talk about what Wikipedia, I'm going to read it right here so that I get it accurate for those of y'all out there that want to correct me. Wikipedia says that a homesteader or homesteading is living a lifestyle of self-sufficiency, okay? This can include subsistence agriculture. So that's basically growing food for yourself. Home preservation of food, canning, we do a lot of this stuff, fermenting. And then also it could include small scale textiles. So, I mean, making soap.
Candles, right. If you have, animals that have wool or fur and you spin that into yarn, and there you go.
Right. So really, homesteading can be as small or as large as you're able to make it. If you're able to do some self-sustaining things and some subsistence agriculture of any kind. I mean, if you're in an apartment, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in an apartment, scale it to where your ability is and your finances and what space you have. So if you're new to the whole idea, but you like the idea and you're in an apartment, if you've got a little windowsill somewhere or a little balcony, you can start up some microgreens. That's a great place to start, some herbs and some, maybe some small greens and things, different lettuces or kales that you could grow on your own that are a little bit more low maintenance, just to kind of dip your toe in.
Right.
If you're on a property that's got what you'd consider an average size backyard and you're zoned for it, consider getting a couple of chickens. That's a great thing to start out with. You can get a dual purpose bird that you'll get eggs out of, like a Delaware that you can also use for meat if and when you decided that might be something you want to venture into. And then of course from that you can your own chicken stock. You can grow some more vegetables, make a raised bed, grow some things that you can
Use
preserve
that
and
chicken
can
manure for fertilizer.
for fertilizer.
You start connecting all of these things together, and suddenly you realize, whether you intended to or not, that you begin to live this sustainable lifestyle,
Right.
where instead of throwing things away, you're repurposing them elsewhere on your operation. I mean, we don't throw a lot away here. I mean,
No.
the things get repurposed. They get turned into compost. They get turned into animal food. They even scraps of wood get reused to build a garden box or whatever. So
Yeah, and we get, a lot of people will comment like, well, why do you bother to do all that? Or why do you bother to, raise your own food or grow your own food? And what's the point? Why don't you just go to the store? Well, yeah, you can just go to the store. But I think a growing number of people are wanting to have that kind of throwback to doing things for yourself, being self-sufficient, being sustainable in your own space, so that you can have that feeling of purpose and fulfillment that you're doing this yourself and that you're able to leave a slightly smaller footprint because of it.
And also, really, yeah, knowing where your food came from and knowing what it ate and how it was raised. I mean, we do not go buy, beef from the grocery store that comes from, a processing plant. We very rarely actually eat beef, and when we do, we've traded it for someone. With someone that has some grass-fed beef, and we traded some of our locally raised pork that we raised right here on the property, and we know how it was raised. We have chickens, we have turkeys, we do one or two lamb a year. This is where our meat comes from. I just traded some of our home raised pork for probably 12 pounds of salmon. Buddy that just got back from Alaska and line caught all these wild salmon. So, part of the self-sustaining lifestyle is also surrounding yourself with people that do some things that kind of fall into that same school of thought,
Right.
and then trading with them.
And a great thing to do, look in your area. Facebook is a great one for it, for different little organizations in your neighborhood or area where people might be doing some kind of food swap or goods swap. There's one that I'm a part of out here that some people make jams, some people make soaps, and you
Honey.
honey. You bring what you have and you say, hey, I'll trade you, this big jar of honey for a couple bars of your homemade soap, and you make swaps like that, and it's great because you're supporting each other. You're sometimes we've taught each other how to do different things. It's a great way to kind of network within your community too, and kind of see who has what and who has things that I don't have that in a pinch I know I can get from them.
I have just recently decided that I'm going to start a worm bin, because not only will my garden love the worm castings and the worm tea, but if I make enough of it, I can trade it to other people that don't have that operation going on for something that I don't have.
Right.
And when you live in a community, any community where there are other people, you will find other people that have a similar mindset if you look for them.
Yeah, even if you're in a city, even if you're living in apartments, even if you're there's people that are doing things on smaller scales that maybe have a crafting hobby. Maybe they're just doing soap, or maybe they're just, looking for wool to spin or whatever. You can work out deals with people, and that's,
Right.
Part of being in a sustainable lifestyle like that and being self-sufficient is figuring out those resources and focusing on what your strengths are and what you enjoy doing. For example, I don't like doing the gardening thing. It's not my jam. He loves it. I love doing the animal stuff. He tolerates that I do the animal stuff.
I like building. He likes
likes building the stuff for the animals. I think the bottom line is that everybody's capable of doing it to some degree, no matter where you live, no matter how much property you have, or how much knowledge and skill you have yet. There's a lot of information out there. YouTube is a great resource.
Right.
And scale it towards your interests. If you're really into plants, start out with microgreens.
So homesteading is what you make it, folks. It is. Depending on the scale that you can accommodate, it's what you make it with what you have. And, you know, maybe you have, you know, 200 acres and you want to start this giant self-sustainable farm, or maybe you have 1 acre and you want to do a small flock of chickens, a couple of turkeys. Yeah, they know their name.
Yeah.
You know, a pig or a lamb. Or maybe you know, you've got, what's that family on YouTube in Arizona? Weed 'em and Reap. They have like a 1 acre yard. It's a big yard in the middle of town. And they have an awesome homestead. So you can do a lot with a little if you put your mind to it.
Yeah. And it's just like with anything else, it's just a little bit of research, some planning, and figuring out what you're comfortable with, you know? Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so you get the notifications. Happy homesteading.
That's right. Don't be afraid to start your homestead.
That's right.